By Paul DICKOV and by Shaun Goater. Paul, you were totally and utterly right. Why did we ever doubt you?
Hey, look, what a performance to start off with. You know, knew it'd be a difficult game, but I just had a feeling that the players, the management, the staff going into this game, they knew how big it was, and they wanted to go out there and send a message. And completely dominant performance. You know, the Burnley players, to be fair to them, can't get anywhere near us. You know, we're moving the ball so quickly. The rotation in the midfield and the front three is fantastic. Burnley don't know whether to pick up, they don't know whether to drop off, but just a sensational first half performance.
Yeah, Paul's right, Shaun. We're just in total control, and there was a point in that game where we were all laughing because we'd had the ball for so long.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. How we've moved the ball, we've shifted the ball, the interchanging. Burnley didn't know at times it's like where they're coming and going, because the way and how we move the ball, and it's with good pace and tempo, and then also it slows up. It's just beautiful to watch. And I was sitting there thinking about one of the stats you said earlier. I think it was something like 82% or something. It was one of the highest stat we had for possession. And soon after, they said something like 79%. So we were very close to it at one point, because how we were moving the ball about, the angles players will come out of a position, receive the ball. The defender marking is thinking, oh, there's a player now in that space that I just left. Who's picking that player up? Really beautiful in how we move the ball. Excellent stuff.
You're very, very close to that 82 as well, Shaun. We're actually on 79% possession at the minute, so phenomenal stats. I was a little bit nervous, Paul, I often am, and Kevin De Bruyne stepped up within the first 5 minutes and calmed my nerves, but it was a beautiful, beautiful finish and build-up play.
Great build-up, you know, kept the ball, waiting for the spaces to come up. Rodri puts a fantastic ball in behind for Raheem Sterling, who's been outstanding all half, and clever little layoff, and then Kevin De Bruyne on his right foot, you know, volleyed it into the roof of the net, and fantastic start, and what a fantastic goal it was as well.
It was his 12th goal this season, Shaun, on his 200th appearance for the club. He genuinely is such a big game player. When we need him, the man steps up.
He steps up, and this one here is a close range. It's, you know, he finds himself in the right position. Sterling sees him, because Sterling, as that ball comes across, Sterling could just flash it across the box and think, no, anybody could go and invite somebody to get onto it. But he sees him on the corner of his eye. He just sits it there for him, and De Bruyne does what he does. We know what he can do outside the box. So when he's inside the box and a ball's just rolling that nicely for him, he's just thinking, cushion that into the goal, and he does it.
If you haven't seen this goal yet, you need to. You'll get the full match highlights on City Plus from this evening. You need to see it. It is a phenomenal, phenomenal finish by Kevin De Bruyne. As we mentioned, Raheem Sterling involved in that first goal. He's also involved in the second goal as well, Paul. It came in the 25th minute. Ilkay Gundogan stepped up, but the move and the cross from Sterling was so pivotal in it.
Well, he's been outstanding. You know, Charlie Taylor, the left back, doesn't know what to do. I think he might have to get unscrewed out the ground at half time, because Sterling's tossed him up every time he gets the ball. But great movement by Raheem again. You know, lovely little 1-2 with Kevin, and then you know, like Shaun said in the first goal, it would have been easier for him just to flash it across the face of the goal. But he's looked up. He's seen Ilkay coming in, and you know, Shaun spoke before the game about why Ilkay's in the team. It's about making the runs into the spaces, into the box. How many times we've seen it? He's in the right place at the right time, and great finish. Took a slight deflection, but yet again another fantastic team goal.
Yeah, slight deflection, but they all count, don't they, Shaun?
They all count. I mean, he's done what he said to do. That's hit the target, and it takes that little deflection. But again, the Sterling sort of receives the ball, and he's in this sort of slow lull, and that's all for the defender. I mean, we know it's for the defender, and it's just a little 1-2, change of pace. And he looked like Usain Bolt when he ran onto it. He was sort of out the blocks, and he just sort of whips that. He whips it in, and again, the finish from Gundogan is what you'd expect of him. Hitting the target, some brilliant bit of movement.
I think from Raheem, when you're that quick and you're running at that pace, to show the composure to slow yourself down and then pick Ilkay Gundogan up, that makes a big difference. Because previous few seasons ago, you might have just have lashed that across the front of the goal and hope for the best. Now you can see the maturity in him. He slowed himself down, he's got his head up and picked out Gundogan, and how many times have we seen Ilkay make that run and score goals for us?
I'm going to steal a stat that Ali Mann said during his commentary there, in case you weren't listening to the commentary. I mean, if you weren't, what were you doing? Where were you listening to if you weren't listening to Ali Mann? If you were, you'll have heard him say this. Shaun, that makes Ilkay Gundogan the most prolific German ever in the Premier League. That was his 34th goal. So he scored more goals than any German in Premier League history.
Wow, I'm not surprised, because again, where he shows up, where he pops up for that goal, he does that when a defense is actually even higher up and he's making those runs behind them. This time is inside the box. He just knows his timing of being able to arrive in those places to side footballs in or have a touch and set other players. I think we know he's got a lot more goals in his time at City, so he'll be he's set a new record and he'll just go on and on.
In terms of the second half, Paul, what would you like to see? More of the same, or do you think there might be a few changes, a few rested? What are you expecting?
No, I think more of the same. One thing that I don't think we have spoke about yet is goal difference. That could come into it as well. So you're getting a few more goals second half. That catches that little bit. I think it's 5 goals Liverpool are ahead of us yet. So if we can get a few more goals second half and close that gap as well, back to the top of the league. Happy days.
It is 5. I'm just looking now. As it stands right now, it's 5.
Yeah, the impressive thing that I've seen with City, certainly against Burnley, is out of possession and how we've really hunted them down in packs to sort of win that ball back. Because Burnley, if they get a bit of time to put some sort of quality ball into the centre forward, who's 6'7", Welkhurst. If they're able to get that ball into him, then they can set attacks off. But City, if we look at and see how they were ratting around and sort of getting in the face. Burnley didn't too often find themselves making 5 or 6 passes, and I think that's a huge part of the tactics that Pep wants. It's like, I don't want them settling to find balls, to find down the sides or into the striker. So the pressing side of our game's been brilliant.
I think we spoke before about what sort of role Ilkay would play. I think if you look at our 2 goals, they came from 2 midfielders, Kevin De Bruyne and Ilkay Gundogan, and at times in the first half we actually played with a front 5. We spoke about Phil being the false 9 and Jack and then Raheem. Kevin and Ilkay, they were sort of playing in between the fullbacks in the centre halves, and it caused Burnley all sorts of problems because their back 4, they want to stay compact, they don't want to leave any gaps within it, but because the wide players were staying so wide, that was allowing Kevin and Ilkay to go in between the fullbacks and the centre halves, and it caused them so much problems.
Who needs a striker? Who needs a striker when your midfielders are doing the business? Thank you very much, gents. Right, we're going to move on now to Who's Stat. It is time for your 3rd clue. We'll go back over them in case you missed them before the game. So, this is Who's Stat for today. Your first clue. This player scored 32 goals in 36 games for his international team. That's an incredible stat. Who could it be? Clue 2, in his career, this player scored more goals against Burnley than against any other club. 8 goals in 5 appearances. So here's your new clue now, clue 3. This player is the only City player in history to score a hat-trick in Turf Moor. 2 hat-tricks, 1999 and 2001.
Decent, that's all I'm going to say. That's decent.
I've not got a clue who that is.
I now do not know who it is. I knew who it was, and then that clue 3 has absolutely thrown me.
Yeah, not a bad stat, I would say. It's good.
You got it now?
I've just got it. It's just tweaked on me.
Love it. Thank you. Well, if you think you know who it is, use #ManCity. And we after the game in full time, we will tell you who it is. We'll go through those clues with you and we will let you know who it is. Thank you very much for sending in your WhatsApp questions for our guests. There's been absolutely loads today, so I'm going to quickly try and run through as many as I can. So Finn's got the first one in today, gents, and he asks, do you think that more teams will follow suit and play with a false 9 next season?
Finay. Great question. I think, well, first of all, you have to have the quality of players, isn't it? You have to have the quality of players. I think some teams are doing it more. So this is what Pep has brought. I think, more teams will do it.
I don't think they will, being honest. I just think it's so difficult to have a false 9. And, you said there, you need quality players in and around you. You need movement, you need rotation, not just from your false 9, from the wide players, but from the midfielders as well, and you need a lot of quality to do that. And I don't think, no disrespect to other teams in the Premier League, they've not got the quality that we've got.
There you go.
Love it. Curvin has sent this question in, although I think, Curvin, you're probably feeling a little bit more comfortable now after seeing that first half. But Curvin said, do you think we should be worried about our defence at the minute?
Not at all. I mean, I thought initially it was going to come with a real quality question there, but not at all. Listen, our defense is solid. I was talking earlier, and I was saying that Ake hasn't been, the lads are at this level, and Ake's just slightly below. I'm watching him today, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm not giving him justice. He's got the ball on his feet. He's hit like this 50-yard pass, and I'm thinking, well, hold on here. He's played brilliant today, and I'm sure he'll continue on. And I need to give him more justice. Actually, he's been brilliant. When he's come in, he's done well. So no problem for me.
He's solid every time he plays, isn't he, Paul?
I think he's been better than that. I think he's been outstanding whenever he's had to come in, and considering he's not been playing a lot, to come in and put in the performances he has, not just today, but all season. Absolutely. All season he's been outstanding.
OK, Scott sent a question in. So, Paul, you have the chance to bring back an ex-City player from the past for one game. Who would it be?
What game?
Right, let's say Liverpool next Sunday.
Sergio Aguero, 100 million%.
Sean?
Oh, yeah, Sergio.
Let's say Atletico Madrid on Tuesday.
Sergio Aguero,
Sergio.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Thank you very much for sending in your questions. Keep them coming in on WhatsApp. If I get any more time after the game, we will ask the gents some more because kickoff is only a few minutes away. So, Sean, what are you hoping from in the second half? What do you expect we'll be talking about in 45 minutes?
I think he'll be saying, do absolutely everything he's saying. Out of possession, win it back as soon as possible. In possession, again, keeping the ball, moving it. KDB, Gundogan, making those runs in between. Just continue on.
Paul, you sticking with your 4-0 prediction?
I think we're going to be sitting here talking 4-0. I hope it's 5 or 6. But yeah, I'm still confident in my prediction.
Oh, I really, really hope so. Gents, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. I absolutely have no idea whose stat was. I was convinced I knew who it was after 2 clues. So I'm looking forward to the post-match today so that I can find out whose stat. So thank you very much for joining us on Matchday Live. Now, one of our regular guests, David James, has a phenomenal story about the day that he became a striker. You'll know what I'm talking about, but City have just produced another one of the incredible documentaries that we do, and it's all about that day. Have a look at this.
An outfield shirt with James #1 on it.
How about this? Nicky Weaver is going in goal, and David James is going up front.
Just another adventure in the history of Manchester City.
Chappie the kit man went, printed your outfield shirt. What are you going on about?
What are you doing? John Macken's on the bench.
He wasn't best pleased, I can tell you that.
Will this prove to be a masterstroke? It's original, we'll give him that.
It's a riot in the stands because it's just, I cannot believe that this is happening.
What in creation is going on here?
David James is talking to Sean Phillips. Sean Phillips is confused, like, why is there a goalkeeper standing next to me with an outfield shirt?
Bemusement, astonishment.
David James is right there in the thick of it.
I did not have a clue what I was supposed to be doing.
Dear me.
And now David James.
I mean, if it had come off, it'd have been the greatest managerial cue of all time, wouldn't it?
So welcome back to Turf Moor. I remember that game very, very well indeed. City needed to win it, if memory serves, in order to get into Europe. So it was a big call to put David James up front. Anyway, if I remember also rightly, I think City had a couple of strikers